Welcome back. Our next guest needs no introduction other than to say it is a great American day anytime we get to have Senator Lou D'Alessandro on the program. Senator, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking.
So you recently announced that it's time to ride off into the sunset. You're going to retire at the end of your term here in 2024. What made you decide it was time?
Well, I've spent 26 years in the Senate. I've spent 50 years in public life. It's about time to get home and sort of smell the coffee, so to speak. My family's given a lot. Time to just rethink things and do some vacationing and do some things that I've missed out on over the years.
Yeah, public service takes up a lot of time.
It does.
I think I had you tell this story when you were here 6 years ago to talk about your book, but I find it so mind-boggling. I think it's worth revisiting that, just how much has changed since the beginning of your career. When you got there after getting elected to the Executive Council, what did the state historian tell you as you're standing there in the Hall of Flags posing for a picture? Kind
of amazing, isn't it, when I recall that? The state historian looked at me and he said, "D'Alessandro, what kind of a name is that?" I said, "It's Italian American." He says, "You're the first non-white that's ever been elected to the Executive Council." Can you believe it?
It's remarkable.
It is remarkable, but not a lot has changed. Here we are in, 2024. Not a lot has changed. When you look at the stuff that's passed the legislature this year, the kind of legislation that's very detrimental to the population, you wonder what's happened in the last 50 years. We're debating the same issues that we did 50 years ago, and we're not solving the problems. A lot of people have needs, and I think in my area of public service, what I've tried to address is the needs of people. And we've gone away from that. And we've gone into polarization and looking at things and developing things that, common sense says shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be there. Why racial issues? Telling people what to teach, telling a teacher what to teach, commanding, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that. What's happened to our society over the years? I don't know. I can't comprehend it. We should all be working for the best, to try to do the best, to try to deliver the best, and to make the lives of citizens better. I mean, that's our commitment. That's commitment to government. That's the commitment to public service. I think we've strayed away from that, and I worry about it.
Yeah, and that perspective over 5 decades, how have you seen sort of partisanship and then hyper-partisanship take hold in Concord?
Well, partisanship existed. It's always existed, but never to the extent it's today. Today it's hyper. You've got the left and the right, and there's nothing in the middle. There's no way to get to the middle. It's highly problematic. And that's where I've been caught all of my life. I'm in the middle, and I've tried to represent the middle, tried to represent what I think the best interest of the people. But the polarization has followed what's happened at the national level, and that's to me is very discouraging.
We talk about the drifting apart of the two parties. Yes. You were a Republican, you became a Democrat in the 1980s. Demographically, the Democratic Party is becoming a little bit more wealthy, a little bit more highly educated. There are fewer, you're one of a kind, but there are fewer Lou D'Alessandros, so to speak. How big of a problem is it for the Democratic Party if it continues to stray from its working class roots?
Well, I think it's a very serious problem. The Democratic Party has always represented the quote-unquote the people, the blue-collar people. I live in a blue-collar neighborhood. I've lived in the same house for 51 years. Bought that house when I was teaching at Bishop Bradley High School here in Manchester, which is now Trinity. When you stray away from the base, and your base is the people feel like they're not being represented. And by not being representative, they're thinking about doing other things. It's a very difficult situation when you as an individual feel that you don't have representation, you don't have any say. So what do? You kind of abandon the principles. First thing, you might not vote, you go here or you go there, but indeed you give up the dream. And if you abandon the dream, you abandon the reason why you're here.
But politics is laden with irony, and you've been pointing this out recently in some of your farewell speeches, talking about the one issue that kind of got away from you, which was expanded gambling.
Yes.
For many years, you were advocating for a big casino there at Rockingham Park. Now Rockingham Park is an Italian-themed development, and no big casino, but we have lots of little casinos all around the state. What was it, you think, that stopped the idea in the House of sort of a big-time casino, but they're okay with all the little ones?
Well, you know, it's a paradox. Those lefties who oppose the casino now support 20 casinos, and it's charitable. The myth of charitable gaming. All of a sudden, charitable gaming has become acceptable. It was unacceptable to gamble, but now it's more acceptable for charitable gaming. We would have had something that would have produced over $100 million a year in revenue to the state, would have provided jobs, significant capital investment. We abandoned that. Now we have little investments, and we have casinos all over the place. And what have we got? What have we got? Well, the charities are doing okay, but now the charities are fighting each other because they want a bigger piece of the action. So I think we abandoned something that would have been good for New Hampshire, and as a result, we have what we have now. And we have the scandal that erupted in Concord, and that's going to happen. I mean, it's the nature. It's the nature of the business when you don't have all of the control mechanisms in place.
You've been a major player in the First in the Nation primary over your many decades in politics. You've seen that change and evolve sort of through the golden era to now. Democrats really had to throw a Hail Mary and have this sort of miraculous saving of First in the Nation status, but it's still in question. How worried are you about the future of the primary, particularly on the Democratic side?
Well, I'm very concerned about it. I think we've got to roll back to where we were. I don't know what was in the Democratic Party's heads when they decided to abandon New Hampshire, the thing that worked, and choose something else. But indeed, the primary process, we do it right. It's an election here. It's an election that's paid for by the people of the state of New Hampshire, not paid for by the party, and it makes sense. Why throw out something that makes sense, that's been in place for 50 years? Doesn't make any sense to me. I think we'll roll it back. But indeed, what's going to be the significance of a primary as we move forward? I think that's the real question that remains unanswered.
What's your advice to future generations of leaders? You've obviously played a role in shaping a lot of young lives, and some of those young lives are now older lives too. At your farewell there, you were talking about guys who you coached in football, who didn't look too much younger than you. But you know, you look at the generation you came up in that was so inspired by the words of Kennedy. You know, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Feels like young people today are almost, and I can't speak for them, but they feel like they're under siege. Perhaps they're almost in survival mode rather than inspiration mode.
Yeah, I think you're right. We need inspiration. We need more people to say, what can I do to help you? The country's done a lot for us. Think of what's happened in this country. Think of the social programs that have been put in place that have been so beneficial. Let's start thinking about what we can do for one another, what we can do for the country. Let's be really thoughtful in that process. And my message to the people who are coming up today is, start thinking about how you can help people, how you can make life better. I think the one thing that I'm most proud of is I believe I had an impact on making the lives better of the people I represented. And I walk away feeling good about that, feeling good that my neighbors are happy because I'm there, and happy because I think they think that I made a difference.
Well, it's always been great having you as a neighbor of the press room there, too. So we'll have you for a few more months. But thanks so much, Senator D'Alessandro. We appreciate your time here at Close Up.
Thank you.